Book 1, Rain, Born of the Storm, by Zell Bowden. Chapter 1, Before the Storm. Told from Rain's perspective, people always talk about the moment their life changed. Some describe it like a spark. Others call it fate. Mine felt more like pressure, like something sitting on my chest my whole life, waiting for the right moment to explode. I don't know how to describe the way the air always felt heavy around me. Like when I walked into a room, the atmosphere shifted a little. Lights flickered sometimes. Radios buzzed. Teachers joked that I carried static. I laughed with them, but inside it scared me. There was always something off about me. Something humming under my skin. Something I couldn't name yet. Most days I tried to fade into the background. Hoodie up. Headphones in. Just me and whatever playlist helped drown out the world. I didn't have many friends, not because I didn't want them, but because being around people always made the pressure worse. The more emotions in the room, the more I felt something inside me reacting, like it was absorbing them. I'd get angry and the wind outside would pick up. I'd feel sad and the sky would darken. I didn't think much of it at first. Coincidence, I told myself, but deep down I knew it wasn't. My mom used to say, Rain, you were born during the worst storm our city ever saw. You came in with thunder shaking the windows. She'd laugh when she said it. But sometimes when she thought I wasn't watching, her eyes had worry in them. Like she knew something I didn't. The truth is, I wasn't scared of storms. I felt comfort in them. When the rain hit the roof, when thunder rumbled in the distance, I felt calm, balanced. Like the world finally matched whatever was happening inside me. I didn't know it then, but the storm wasn't outside me. It was me. And it was getting stronger. The day it finally revealed itself, the day everything in my life split into before and after, was coming fast. And I had no idea. Chapter 2, The Awakening. Told from Rain's perspective, it was the kind of rain that made the whole city look blurry, like the world couldn't decide what shape it wanted to take. Streets were flooding, sirens were echoing somewhere far off, and thunder rolled across the sky like an angry warning. I should have gone straight home, but something in me felt restless, wired. My skin tingled, the air clung to me, and every instinct said something's coming. I ignored it. Headphones in, hood up, hands in my pockets. Just another wet day and a messy life. Then I heard it. A scream. Sharp. High. Fearful. My whole body froze like lightning hit me from the inside. I ripped my headphones out and followed the sound. Across the street, the bus stop roof had collapsed under the weight of rainwater. A little kid was trapped beneath twisted metal, crying, kicking, trying to claw his way out, while the storm beat down harder. Nobody else was close. Nobody else moved. Just me. My heart slammed against my ribs. My hands shook. The pressure inside me rose. Come on, Rain, I whispered to myself. Just help him. I ran. The wind pushed against me so hard it felt personal. My hoodie snapped behind me like it was trying to yank me back. The closer I got, the heavier the air became, thick, buzzing, charged. When I grabbed the metal roof, pain shot up my arms like fire. Ah! I almost let go. The metal was vibrating. Not from the storm. From me. My vision blurred. Purple sparks danced across my fingers. The rain around me slowed like someone pressed pause on the world. Every drop hung mid-air, suspended. What is this? I whispered. The storm answered. A pulse shot from my hands, pure energy, pure instinct. The metal roof blasted upward as if it weighed nothing. Lightning flickered around my arms, crawling up my skin like living veins of light. The kid bolted out, eyes wide with terror. Don't run, wait, I tried to say. He was already sprinting away. The world snapped back into full speed. Rain slammed down again. Thunder cracked so loud it rattled my bones. Then everything spun. My legs gave out. The ground rushed up and swallowed me in darkness. The next thing I remember was waking up in an alley, soaked and shaking. My hoodie was singed. My fingertips were glowing faintly, glowing. Every sound felt amplified. Every breath felt like electricity. Every heartbeat echoed like thunder inside my skull. And the scary part wasn't the power. It was how right it felt. How familiar. How natural. Like something that had been asleep inside me finally opened its eyes. That was the night the storm chose me. Or maybe that was the night I finally stopped running from it. Chapter 3, Power I Can't Control. Told from Rain's perspective, when I got home that night, I didn't bother turning on the lights. I just sat on the edge of my bed, dripping rainwater and fear onto the floor, trying to breathe normally. But the storm inside me wouldn't let me. My skin buzzed like I'd swallowed electricity. My fingertips sparked every few seconds. Tiny flashes of purple that lit the room. The air around me felt warm, alive, restless. Every time I inhaled, the wind outside the window shifted. Every time I exhaled, thunder rumbled miles away. Every heartbeat felt like something cracking open inside me. I held my hands up in the dark. They were glowing. Not bright, just enough to remind me this wasn't a dream. Thin lines of purple light ran under my skin like glowing branches of lightning. "I'm losing it," I whispered. "I'm actually losing it." My reflection in the window didn't help. My eyes, my actual eyes, flickered with faint violet sparks. I splashed water on my face. The sink faucet sprayed 3 feet in the air. I tried to turn off my lamp. It exploded. My emotions were gasoline. My powers were the match. And everything around me was starting to burn. The first real accident. The next morning, I thought school would distract me. Bad idea. I walked into first period late. I was tired, frustrated, and my whole body felt wired. I kept tapping my foot to release pressure I didn't understand. My hoodie sleeve kept sparking with tiny shocks. Of course, that's when one of the guys who always messed with me, Derek, bumped my shoulder on purpose. "You look like crap, Rainfall," he smirked. Normally I ignored him. But today, something inside me snapped. A wave of energy surged outward fast. All the lockers down the hall slammed open at once. Lights flickered like the school was about to black out. Papers flew off bulletin boards. It was like an invisible shockwave burst from my chest. Everyone froze, stared at me. I stared at my own hands. I didn't try to do that. I didn't even want to. My powers were reacting to my emotions without my permission. "What was that?" someone whispered behind me. I ran. Losing control. By the time I got back home, the sky outside had turned dark, even though it wasn't supposed to rain that day. Storm clouds followed me. Literally followed me. I paced my room, breathing fast, hands shaking as they flickered like broken neon signs. Electricity crawled up my arms. My veins glowed. I felt like a bomb. I didn't want to hurt anyone. But every second, the pressure built. The air tasted metallic. My heart pounded like thunder. I clenched my fists. The wind outside roared. The walls shook. The light bulbs popped one by one. No, stop, I begged myself. But the storm didn't listen. It erupted. A blast of purple lightning shot from my palms and carved a burn mark across the ceiling. My room filled with smoke. My ears rang for a full minute. That's when it hit me. I can't stay here. I can't control this. I'm going to hurt someone. So I did the only thing that felt safe. I left. Grabbed a backpack. Grabbed whatever cash I had. And walked into the night with thunder rolling behind me like footsteps. I didn't know where I was going. I just knew I couldn't go home. I didn't know it yet. But the people who would change my life forever were already watching me. And my real story, my rise as Rain, was about to begin. Chapter 4, The Misfit Mutants. Told from Rain's perspective, I didn't know where I was going. All I knew is that I couldn't go back. Not after the way my powers exploded at school, not after the way my own room almost destroyed itself around me. I wandered the streets, letting the storm clouds follow, like they were keeping me company or maybe warning me. That's when I first saw them. The alley. The alley wasn't much, just a cracked brick wall, trash bins spilling over, and the faint smell of burnt electronics. But there were 4 figures there. 4 kids huddled together looking strange. The first one looked like she was glowing. Not like lightning, like pure light bending around her. Halo, her name was later, but I didn't know that yet. She tilted her head, scanning me like she could see the storm swirling inside me before I even knew it was visible. The second one was massive. Brick. Tall, broad, solid. His arms looked like stone. When he stepped forward, the ground shivered beneath him. The third one whispered. Literally. I could feel his voice like vibrations. He was quiet, but the sound he made the trash cans rattle without touching them. And the last, Flux, she was levitating a few inches off the ground. Books and small metal objects orbiting around her like she was the center of some tiny universe. They weren't just weird, they were like me. Meeting them. I didn't know how to explain myself. I just said, hey, don't freak out, but I think I'm kind of a storm. They didn't laugh. They didn't run. Halo's light flickered. You're like us. she said softly. I blinked. Us? Yeah, she said. Mutants. People like you. People like me. Brick grinned, cracked knuckles like it was no big deal. About time someone new showed up. We were getting bored of watching the city burn itself. Whisper tilted his head, still silent. Then suddenly the alley echoed with a low hum. A welcome, almost like he was saying, I hear you. Flux floated closer. You can control it? She asked. The storm? I laughed nervously. Not really, yet. I kind of blew up my room and almost killed a kid at school today. They stared at me. Then Halo shrugged. We all start somewhere. The first test. I didn't know it then, but they weren't just curious. They were scouting. They wanted to see if I could survive a real threat. And it came faster than I expected. A group of, I don't know what they were yet, but they didn't look human, attacked a nearby street corner. Shadows moved fast, too fast for normal people. Brick growled, stepping forward. Watch and learn, newbie. Halo created a wall of light that deflected bullets. Whisper's sound waves knocked enemies off their feet. Flux tossed trash bins like weapons. And me? I panicked. The storm inside me flared. Lightning leapt from my hands. The wind whipped around my head. It was terrifying. Then instinct took over. I raised my hands and the storm obeyed me just a little. Not perfectly. Not safely. But enough to knock the attackers back and protect my new team. When it was over, Halo smiled. Not bad, Storm Boy. You're stronger than you think. Brick slapped me on the back, almost crushing my shoulder. Welcome to the family, kid. That night we sat in the alley hiding from the world. I had a strange feeling. For the first time in my life, I didn't feel alone. For the first time I felt like I belonged. And that feeling terrified me even more than my powers did. Because I knew deep down that belonging came with responsibility. And responsibility would bring danger. I didn't know it yet, but that was just the beginning. Chapter 5, First Enemy Appears, Tempest. Told from Rain's perspective, the night I met Tempest, the sky was already angry. Thick clouds stretched across the city like a warning, and the wind whispered through the alleys as if carrying a secret I wasn't ready to hear. I had just started learning how to control the storm, feeling the tiniest shred of confidence for the first time. My team had my back. I felt alive. Then he appeared. The arrival. I was on the rooftop trying to focus my lightning into small sparks instead of letting it crackle wildly. When the air changed. Not the storm outside, this was different. He walked toward me, calm, confident. Every step seemed to bend the air around him. His eyes, I can't describe them. Storm gray, sharp, piercing like he could see the currents inside me. And he smiled. Rain, he said. His voice carried the weight of thunder, the authority of a hurricane. I've been waiting for you. I froze. Who are you? He laughed softly. I am Tempest. And you are the storm reborn. The challenge. I didn't understand at first. What did that even mean? Storm reborn, I muttered. I don't know what you're talking about. Tempest tilted his head, lightning flickering along his fingers. You already feel it, don't you? The power, the energy, the fire inside. You are not meant to hide, not meant to cower. You are born to command the storm. A chill ran through me. His words were tempting, dangerous, like fire against wet wood. I don't want to hurt anyone, I said. My voice shook. You already have, he said softly. You just don't know it yet. The storm chooses its own master, and that master is you or me. His eyes narrowed. You can join me, Rain. Together we could remake this world. And just like that, my gut told me the truth. I wasn't meeting him by chance. He had been watching me, waiting, judging, and worse, he wanted me on his side. The threat. Before I could answer, the wind exploded. Lightning arced from his hands to the building opposite, blasting concrete and fire alike. Do you see what you could become? Tempest shouted over the roar of the storm. Do you see the strength you already have, waiting to be unleashed? My chest pounded. My heart raced. The storm inside me flared like a beast, answering the call I didn't fully understand. I don't want this, I yelled. He smiled again, a predator's smile. You have no choice, Rain. Not really. Power like yours doesn't wait. And neither do I. And then he vanished. The clouds above twisted into a dark spiral, and the city trembled for a moment before the wind settled. I was left alone on the rooftop, trembling. But for the first time, I understood something terrifying. This storm inside me isn't just a part of me. It's a destiny, and it's dangerous. The aftermath. I climbed down to meet my team. Halo's eyes widened when she saw me shaking. What happened? He knows about us, I said, my voice low. And he wants me. Brick's fists clenched. Then we better be ready. Whoever he is, he's not taking you without a fight. Whisper just tilted his head, listening to the echo of my heartbeat, reading the tension I couldn't put into words. Flux floated a little higher, arms crossed. Looks like your training starts now, Storm Boy. I swallowed hard, because I knew she was right. The first enemy had appeared, and my life would never be the same again. Chapter 6, The City Under Siege. Told from Rain's perspective, the city didn't know it yet, but had a storm coming. And this storm wasn't just in the sky. It was on the ground, moving through shadows, and it was after me. I had barely slept since Tempest appeared. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw the spiral of dark clouds, felt the electric hum in my chest, and heard his voice whispering, "You are the storm reborn." I didn't want to be the storm. I wanted to be a kid again. But I knew that wasn't an option. The attack. It started with sirens, then screams, then a shockwave that rattled every window in my neighborhood. The city was under siege. Tempest had arrived, and he wasn't alone. Shadows moved along the rooftops, fast, strong, coordinated. People screamed as lightning ripped through streetlights, cars skidded, and chaos erupted. I felt the storm inside me pulse, reacting. My hands tingled. My vision blurred. The team appeared beside me, Halo, Brick, Whisper, and Flux. Ready? Halo asked. Her light flickered, creating a protective barrier. Brick cracked his knuckles. Let's go. Whisper raised his hands, sending vibrations through the ground, knocking several enemies off their feet. Flux sent a pile of debris spinning toward another group, smashing them against a wall. And me? I ran in blindly, lightning shooting from my fingertips, wind whipping around me, chaos responding to my fear, not my control. The first failure. I thought I could handle it. I thought my powers would protect the team. I was wrong. A shadow attacked me from behind, faster than my eyes could track. It slammed into me, knocking me off balance. I let out a shout, and in that instant, my powers surged uncontrollably. A bolt of purple lightning shot out from my hands, hitting the wrong targets, smashing a nearby car and sending metal flying toward my teammates. Halo shouted, "Rain, control it!" I tried. I really tried. But every emotion I felt, fear, anger, panic, fed the storm inside me. I was a hurricane of chaos I couldn't manage. When the dust cleared, I realized my worst fear. I had hurt them. I had nearly killed Brick. I had endangered everyone. I froze, chest heaving, hands shaking, sparks dying down. The consequences. The team helped me up. Halo's eyes glimmered softly, not with anger, but concern. You're not ready, but you will be. Brick muttered under his breath, still rubbing his shoulder. Next time, don't almost kill me, Storm Boy. Flux floated silently, tossing a piece of metal she had salvaged from the wreckage into a dumpster. And Whisper, he just stood there listening. Calm, patient. The only one who didn't scold me. I hated myself that night. I hated the storm. I hated that I couldn't control it. But deep down I knew something. This was only the beginning. If I didn't learn to control the storm, if I didn't become stronger, Tempest would return. And next time, he wouldn't just test me. He would destroy everything I cared about. Chapter 7, Training the Storm. Told from Rain's perspective, I couldn't sleep. The city was quiet, but inside me, the storm raged. Every heartbeat, every breath, every flicker of light felt amplified. I had nearly destroyed my team, nearly killed Brick, nearly lost myself. Something had to change. The first lesson. Halo stood beside me on the rooftop, her light flickering gently. You can't fight the storm, Rain, she said. You have to work with it. Work with it? I repeated, incredulous. I nearly burned down half the city yesterday. I can't work with this! You can, she said, stepping closer. But only if you understand it. Only if you listen. Close your eyes. I did. The wind whipped around me, cold and sharp. Thunder rumbled softly. I focused on my breathing, slow and steady. Feel it, Halo whispered. Not as something trying to escape you, but as part of you. Purple sparks curled along my veins, dancing like tiny snakes. For the first time, I didn't panic. I watched. I felt. And slowly, the storm inside me started to settle. Channeling lightning. Next was the lightning. I extended my hands, tiny arcs flickering at my fingertips. At first they jumped everywhere, walls, railing, even me. But Halo guided me. Focus on one point. Send the energy there. Not out, through you. I pictured a line of light connecting my palm to the rooftop railing. The first few attempts fizzled, sparks scattering. But with Halo's calm voice in my head, I felt the lightning obey. It flowed, controlled, smooth. A small victory. The wind. Wind was harder. Anger made it a hurricane. Fear made it collapse. Calm made it a breeze. Brick stood behind me. Stop thinking, Storm Boy. Feel it. Be the wind, not the one controlling it. I inhaled. I let it fill my lungs. Exhaled. The air around me stirred. For the first time, I was the wind. Not reacting, not overpowered. I moved with it. Whisper joined, showing me how vibrations in the ground could carry the storm's rhythm. Flux floated debris in circles, showing me the focus required to manage multiple currents at once. Every second, I felt the storm sinking with me. Not obeying me blindly, but cooperating. Eyes of the storm. The most important part, my eyes. Every time I channeled too much power, they glowed purple. At first it was scary. Now it became a tool. A gauge. If my eyes dimmed, I was calm. If they flared, I had to slow down or risk losing control. It wasn't perfect. Far from it. But it was progress. The first real test. After hours of training, Halo looked at me and said, "There's a storm outside. Big one. Try controlling it." I stepped onto the rooftop. Clouds churned above the city. Rain lashed against my face. Thunder growled like a warning. I closed my eyes, breathed, felt the storm inside me reach out to the storm above. And slowly, they met. Wind and rain and lightning answered my focus. I raised my hands, and for the first time, I made the storm obey me. A small circle of controlled lightning hovered above my palms. The clouds above parted slightly. The rain slowed. The wind curled gently around me. Halo smiled. "Not bad, Storm Boy. Not bad at all." I smiled too, even though exhaustion nearly knocked me off my feet. I knew this was just the beginning. The storm inside me was alive. But now I had learned how to listen. And for the first time, I felt like I might survive what was coming next. Chapter 8, Tempest's Army. Told from Rain's perspective, I thought the first attack was bad. I thought losing control at the city streets was terrifying. I thought the storm inside me was the biggest danger I'd face. I was wrong. The arrival. It started as whispers, shadows moving faster than anything human. Then came the wind that smelled wrong. Not natural. Then came the figures. 5 of them. Not like ordinary people. Not like me. Not like my team. Tempest's army. I froze. The villains. Halo whispered their names. They had already studied them. Cyclone, Wind Assassin. Moves faster than the eye can follow. A blur of destructive air. Blackout. Electricity eater. Feeds on power, absorbs lightning like it's fuel. Monsoon, water manipulator. Can drown a city if she wanted. Striker, human battery. Shoots pure energy blasts from his hands. Tempest himself, always watching, always testing. The sky above twisted, dark clouds condensing into violent spirals. The storm answered them, but differently, less chaotic, more controlled. The first clash. We ran. Brick at the front, Halo creating protective light shields, Whisper using vibrations to knock some enemies off balance, Flux hurling debris at attackers. I ran too, hands crackling with controlled lightning. For the first time, I didn't panic. But even with all my control, they were faster, stronger, smarter. Cyclone struck first, blurring past my vision and slamming me into a brick wall. Pain exploded across my back. I jumped up, but he was gone, circling like a predator. Blackout moved toward me. I threw a bolt of lightning, and he absorbed it. I felt my own energy drain from me like it had been stolen. I staggered. My palms smoked. My legs wobbled. Teamwork. Then Halo yelled, "Focus! We're together!" Brick charged at Monsoon, disrupting her water currents. Whisper unleashed a sonic pulse that knocked a few attackers down. Flux threw a giant chunk of metal at Striker, forcing him to redirect his energy. I closed my eyes, breathed, felt the storm inside me. I reached for the lightning, reached for the wind, and slowly merged my energy with the city's storm. Purple arcs of lightning danced at my fingertips. Wind circled me, forming a protective barrier. I struck Cyclone mid-spin, sending him crashing into a nearby wall. The cost. We fought, but it wasn't a victory. We held them off. Barely. By the time the dust settled, buildings were damaged, streets flooded, and my team was exhausted. I looked at my hands, still glowing faintly purple. I had controlled the storm just enough. But I knew the truth. This army wasn't a one-time problem. Tempest had sent them as a warning. And if we weren't stronger, next time we wouldn't survive. Brick slapped my shoulder. Not bad, Storm Boy. Could have been worse. Halo's eyes softened. You're learning. That's what matters. I nodded, but inside, I felt fear. Real fear. Because I knew the next time Tempest came, it wouldn't just be a warning. It would be war. Chapter 9, Rise of Rain. Told from Rain's perspective, I couldn't stop thinking about Tempest. His words. His eyes. That dangerous, tempting smile. You are the storm reborn. The storm inside me pulsed every time I remembered it. Every night, I felt its power calling, whispering, urging me to embrace it. I had trained. I had learned control. But I wasn't ready. Or at least, I thought I wasn't. The truth revealed. It was Halo who first noticed it. She dragged me onto the rooftop one night. Rain, she said, her light flickering gently. You need to see this. She opened a small device, showing footage of Tempest. Not just him, his past. Old videos, battles, destruction. And then the secret she uncovered. Tempest wasn't just a villain. He was the original Storm Mutant. The one who had unlocked weather powers before anyone else. He had fought wars, built armies, and shaped the world from shadows. And now he wanted me to take his place. To be the next evolution of the storm. I felt the weight of it. Not just power, but destiny. The choice. I remembered the first time I lost control, the first time I nearly hurt my team. I remembered the fear, the chaos, the doubt. I could feel Tempest's pull, strong, magnetic, like the storm itself was reaching for me. Join me, his voice echoed in my head. Together we could rule everything. And I wanted to. Part of me wanted to feel that power, that freedom, that dominance. But another part, smaller, quieter, stronger, said, no. I wasn't going to become him. I wasn't going to let the storm control me. Unlocking true power. The next day I trained harder than ever. I meditated with the storm, letting the wind, the rain, the lightning flow through me, not against me. Brick, Halo, Whisper, Flux, they were my anchors. My connection to the human side of me. I learned to focus the lightning into a concentrated strike. I learned to control the wind, bending it into shields, currents, even sharp blades. I learned to use the storm itself as a weapon, a living extension of my will. And then it happened. A surge of energy, stronger than anything I had felt before, coursed through me. My eyes flared bright purple, my hair danced with static, and the air around me hummed like it was alive. I wasn't just rain anymore. I was the storm. The first victory. It didn't take long for Tempest to return. He came with his army, ready to test me, to tempt me, to crush me. But this time I was ready. Cyclone attacked faster than ever. I countered with a vortex of wind, trapping him mid-spin. Blackout tried to drain me, but I channeled the lightning through my body like armor. Monsoon and Striker were coordinated, but I struck with precision, breaking their formation. And then Tempest himself. The sky darkened. Purple lightning crackled from my hands. I met his gaze. You've grown, he said. I am Rain, I said, my voice steady. And I choose what I become. The clash was enormous. Lightning against lightning, wind against wind, thunder shaking the clouds. I focused, controlled, and struck with purpose, not rage. Not fear. Power guided by will. He fell. The clouds split. The storm calmed. For the first time, I wasn't afraid of the storm inside me. Victory over myself. When it was over, my team approached. Halo smiled softly. You did it. Brick grinned. Told you had it in you, Storm Boy. Whisper just nodded. Flux floated closer. You're ready now. Not just to fight, but to lead. I realized the truth. The battle wasn't just against Tempest. It was against my doubt, my fear, my hesitation. And I won. I am Rain. I am the storm. And I choose my own path. Chapter 10, Sky War. Told from Rain's perspective, the city below looked small from the clouds. Rain whipped my hoodie against my body. Lightning danced along my fingertips. This was it. Tempest's final move. He floated in the eye of the storm above me, calm, confident. His army swirled below like shadows following him, waiting for his command. "You've grown," he said, voice carrying over the roar of thunder. "And yet, you're still too small, Rain. Too weak to stop me." I clenched my fists. I wasn't small anymore. I wasn't weak. Purple arcs of lightning surged from my hands. Wind spiraled around me. The storm was mine, part of me, obeying my will. The battle. Tempest struck first. Lightning shot from his hands, massive, deadly bolts. I dodged, spinning in the air, channeling my own energy to redirect some of the blasts. Cyclone and Striker joined, rushing me in a blur. I countered, creating a funnel of wind and electricity that sent them crashing into each other. Monsoon raised a wall of water that could drown the streets below, but I condensed the storm's humidity, turning it into vapor before it reached the city. Blackout surged toward me, trying to absorb my lightning. I redirected the current into the clouds above, sending a massive arc of energy back at him, and he howled in frustration. Every attack, every surge, every strike I made was precise, controlled, measured. I wasn't afraid anymore. And then Tempest. We collided in midair. Lightning met lightning. Wind met wind. Our powers clashed like twin hurricanes. The storm around us screamed, tearing clouds apart, shaking the skyline, lighting the city with purple flashes. I remembered everything, the fear, the doubt, the failures, and I let it go. This was no longer about survival. This was about choice. With a roar, I channeled everything, my anger, my fear, my focus, my love for my team, into one final strike. Purple lightning coalesced into a spear of pure energy. I hurled it directly at Tempest. He met it with his own force. There was a blinding flash. A shockwave rolled across the clouds, sending rain and debris swirling in every direction. And then silence. Tempest fell defeated, his army scattered. The storm calmed. The sky split open with sunlight piercing through, like the world was exhaling. I hovered there, chest heaving, arms still crackling faintly with residual energy. I had one. Chapter 11, Victory over Himself. Told from Rain's perspective, the city below was quiet now. The storm inside me had settled, and I realized something. Defeating Tempest wasn't the real victory. The real victory was me. I'd faced the storm inside me and won. I had faced my fear, my doubt, my anger, and mastered it. I looked at my hands. Purple energy danced along my veins, but it no longer frightened me. I was Rain. I was the storm. And I controlled it. Halo floated next to me, smiling softly. "You did it." Brick clapped me on the shoulder. "You've earned it, Storm Boy." Whisper just nodded quietly, his calm presence grounding me. Flux hovered beside me, eyes shining. "You're ready for anything now." And I realized my team wasn't just allies. They were my family. And together, we could face anything. Chapter 12, The X-Men Arrive. Told from Rain's perspective, I barely had time to catch my breath before the sky shimmered, and a sleek jet descended from the clouds. "X-Men," Halo whispered. Storm stepped out first, her eyes glimmering with authority and power. Cyclops, Wolverine, and Jean followed. They'd come to see the Storm reborn for themselves. "You have control now," Storm said, her voice calm, powerful. "You've proven yourself, Rain. But there is a bigger world out there and a bigger purpose." I felt the weight of it. I'd fought for my city, for my team, for myself. And now the world was watching. I nodded. "I'm ready," I said. Not as a boy afraid of his powers. Not as a kid who ran from storms. But as Rain. Hero. Leader. Storm incarnate. Chapter 13, The Decision. Told from Rain's perspective, I had a choice. Stay with my team, fight for the city, protect the people I knew. Or join the X-Men, train, learn, and become something greater. I thought about the first night I ran for my powers, about the first time I hurt someone by accident, about the team who trusted me even when I was afraid. I realized I didn't have to choose one or the other. I could carry both. I could honor my roots while reaching higher. "I'll do it," I said finally. "I'll join the X-Men." Halo smiled, a little sad but proud. Brick grinned. Whisper nodded. Flux floated closer and said softly, "Go show the world what Rain can do." And for the first time, I wasn't afraid of the path ahead. Chapter 14, A Hero is Born. Told from Rain's perspective, the jet rose into the clouds. Below, the city sparkled in the sunlight after the storm. I felt the wind against my face, the faint buzz of lightning in my veins, the calm after the chaos. I closed my eyes and remembered everything, the fear, the failures, the losses, the victories, and I smiled. I had become something more than I ever imagined. Not just Rain, the boy with a storm inside. Not just Rain, the protector of a city, but Rain, the hero. The storm incarnate. The leader. I opened my eyes, purple lightning flickering faintly. The horizon stretched endlessly before me. The world was big, dangerous, exciting, and I was ready, because I am Rain. I am the storm. And this is only the beginning. Book 1 complete.
Thank you guys for listening, and be looking for book 2.